Giggly, childish, incredibly juvenile teacher brags about having her students pledge allegiance to the gay pride flag, not the American flag. Since when did the American flag become so controversial that teachers remove it from view while the divisive and, let's just call it, kind of cheesy pride flag is now displayed as not only an acceptable substitute, but even mandatory to stand for? I'm Dr. Duke, she's Katie, and none of this makes any sense to me here on The Dr. Duke Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Dr. Duke Show. As you know, we are the only program that keeps you educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. Today's show is sponsored by Mike Lindell and our friends at MyPillow. I mean, my goodness, you can save up to 66% at MyPillow.com when you use the code Dr. Duke, D-R-D-U-K-E. That saves 66% at MyPillow.com when you use our wonderful, named after me, code, which is totally cool. Totally cool to have your own cool code, man. Today, we start in the totally uncool California, where a high school English teacher behaving more like a spoiled 6-year-old is under fire after she posted a video bragging about how she doesn't have an American flag in her classroom. She hid it, and now she can't find it. Hee hee hee. But she does proudly display a rainbow flag, and when her kids ask, what should we be saluting when we stand for the pledge? Hee hee hee, giggle giggle, the gay pride flag. Take a look, and Katie will fill you in on the deets.
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements, and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words. So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet. But my kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I gotta find it. Like, I'm working on it. I got you. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
Yeah, so Valley Girl, Deborah Foreman, had a granddaughter, and there she is, a California Valley Girl, right? The whole time I'm listening to this, I'm hearing that song, I'll stop the world and melt with you. Look at that. She's either that or she's channeling her inner Mork from Ork. Nevertheless, unbelievable how giggly and stupid and childish. And, the lying to the kid, too. She says, I'm looking for the flag. No. And during COVID, she was made uncomfortable by the flags, the American flag. So she had to take it down.
Well, the teacher is Kristen Pitson, just so everyone's aware in case they are listening and didn't see her name written on screen. She teaches at the Newport Mesa Unified School District in Orange County, California. And the thing is about her, she's just like pretty much every college student I've seen as of late. Not everyone, but enough of them who sound like her, who look like her, who act like her, who just believe like she does. They're all the same person coming through. So we have no true diversity that they're pledging about because they're all diverse in the same exact way.
But it's one thing to be hesitant to give the kids their freedom. If you want to tell your kids, she should have a flag in the class. If the school mandates the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance, and this one does, you must have a flag to pledge to, right? If these kids want to pledge the flag and you don't have one, you have made it impossible to do what the school requires you to do. That's not right. And then on the other side of this, you have no right to bring in your outside flags. Could you imagine if somebody in the next room brought in an ISIS flag, or even worse, a MAGA flag? Can you imagine if the guy down the road had the Blue Lives Matter flag, the police, or, heaven forbid, a banner that said All Lives Matter? You'd be going apocalyptic, right? You'd lose your mind.
But as we know, Ms. Pitson likes to hang up various flags, and she's proud about it, and she puts it on her TikTok.
Happy Pride, everyone! It's June 1st, the start of Pride Month. Here's what I got going in my classroom. I got these flags from Target in like the dollar bin, so that's amazing. They didn't have all of them in the collection that they came out with, so I got all the ones that they had. As well as the inclusive pride flag. I pledge allegiance to the queers.
So if you're blinded by all of the colors that were just thrown across the screen in a vomit kind of fashion, so am I.
Did I just hear her say, I pledge allegiance to the queers? Is that what she said? That's what she said.
She says a lot of things on her TikTok.
So not your country by mandate, not your school, but to the queers. So you're there for the queers. And by the way, nice of us to tell her in her little TikTok pro, she's bisexual herself. So I guess she's bi-queer, half-queer.
Who knows? Who
cares? Drop the ear.
Well, of course, what's the response to all this? The New Mesa Unified School District announced on Facebook, because they announce everything on Facebook. We do. They're looking into the videos.
Yeah, what's to
That's
look
what they're
into?
doing. Looking into it. As their statement says, on Friday evening, at the time it was a Friday evening, one of our teachers created a personal social media post that caused alarm and concern related to saluting the American flag. Showing respect for our nation's flag is an important value our district instills in our students and is an expectation of our employees. We take this matter seriously and are investigating and addressing it. And then a spokeswoman for the school district actually talked to the New York Post and said that they are taking the action to address it, taking the action.
I give the school a lot of credit because they didn't just give you the boilerplate, this is a personnel issue, we can't talk about it. The fact that they reiterated that we take this seriously, we believe. Now think about it. When was the last time you've heard a school say this?
I've said it many a times. That's they've taken step 2. I'll give them that.
Yeah, no, the fact that they've actually, again, they better fire her butt, but even if they don't, the fact that they said we take it seriously, number one. Number two, it is something we teach in this school district. Number two, and that what it was. Read that. Just read that sentence again. That one word that tells what it is.
Showing respect for our nation's flag is an important value our district instills in our students and is an expectation of our employees.
An expectation of our employees. In other words, it's a condition for working here. So that's a lot more information than we usually get from these schools. So California administration, well, we'll see how this turns out, but at least at the forefront of this crisis, have made a very interesting statement. One that, if you're the teacher now having what they said, you have really no wiggle room, do you?
All right, everyone, before we move on to our next story, we want to unveil our brand new Freedom Tumbler. Look at it. For a year now, we've had Patriots pledging their support to keep our freedom-loving programs going by joining the Patriot Club. You've heard me talk about it a time or two. And this year, as a special thank you for your $99 tax-deductible donation, we would like to send you our new navy blue 20-ounce tumbler etched with the words American Patriot, sitting atop a rather muscular George Washington. And if you're able to support us with a $129 donation, we'd also like to send you our new 15-ounce stainless steel mug. So that's 2 mugs that you get to just enjoy and be a patriot. Simply visit patriotclub.us to get signed up. That's patriotclub.us. And if you sign up, you will make that tax-deductible gift to us to help keep this show going.
And if you take a look at the beauty of all this, you got George Washington, and he's actually, again, as Katie said, they modeled the body of George after me, very buff, and it says, it's great to be number one. It's good to be number one. You get the joke there, I hope. And all of you who donated so generously to buy our previous tumbler last year, we hope you'll do it again. Chip in for the big and the small one, and you'll have a couple of them. You have no idea how you helped us get through the year when organizations like Facebook were demonetizing us.
Well, moving on to a bad boy in a very different sense, a very horrible, awful man named Arne Duncan. This is a little PSA. PSA time, everyone. Pay attention. Politicians who are supposed to be serving in the roles to help your children, so maybe the education secretary at the federal level, they're not doing so. Just so you know. If they're supposed to be helping your children, they're not doing it. They're actually just serving themselves. And they're doing it while they are in office, and then they're doing it after they're even out of office. And that brings us to Arne Duncan, who is the former education secretary serving in the Obama administration. If you don't remember Arne Duncan, well, you may remember that he's the man who said, schools should be open 12, 13, 14 hours a day. They are basically the centers of our community. We need to open clinics at these schools. That's Arne Duncan.
On the way out, he's also the guy that said, maybe we need to create a network of federal boarding schools where we can take children away from their parents in certain circumstances and let the government educate them. How about that?
This makes sense. So the same Arne Duncan now is just busy on the Twitter, and he decided that he needed to tweet about COVID and the vaccine and how if you are not in favor of getting the vaccine, then you are basically the same as the suicide bombers that just killed 13 service members in Kabul. Here's the tweet. Have you noticed how strikingly similar both the mindsets and actions between the suicide bombers at Kabul's airport and the anti-mask and anti-vax people here? They both blow themselves up. I'm going to repeat that. They both blow themselves up, inflict harm on those around them, and are convinced they are fighting for freedom.
So let me see if Arne Duncan, our former Secretary of Education under the clownish Obama administration, let's see if he knows the difference between the word is stunningly alike, right? So on the one hand, you got people who are suspicious of vaccines because they're new, because most of them still haven't been approved by the FDA, that they include all sorts of ingredients that one might take umbrage, including potentially parts of fetuses, if you are a pro-life person. To say nothing of the fact that there's no long-term study on these. They were rushed to market way before vaccines typically are. I mean, think about this. We still don't have a vaccine for the AIDS virus, and that was 41 years ago. There's not a...
Anthony Fauci's working on that.
He's been, yes, the Fauci has been on that from the beginning. He's like the Fonz, right?
Don't compare him to Fonzie.
Well, think about Fonzie.
Hey.
Looking backwards, Fonzie turned out to be a short little Jewish dude, right? I mean, and who's Fauci? I mean, he's got all this power. He's like the Fonzie. But when you look at him, it's like, really? He's this little squirt of a guy. Anyhow, nevertheless, and moving forward notwithstanding, Arne Duncan here doesn't know the difference between all those things, all those potential problems with vaccines, and a suicide bomb. Pretty sure that 99 times out of 100, when you strap an incendiary device to yourself and press the ignition button, you're going to be blown to pieces. And you see these two things as exactly the same thing. No wonder the American public schools fell even more apart under your oh-so-brilliant tutelage.
I thank you, Arne Duncan, for your bleepity bleep. The tweet that he put out, which of course now has been deleted.
He erased it.
Was put out on the day that Biden met the caskets at Dover Air Force Base for the dignified transfer. So keeping it classy there, Arne Duncan.
Yeah, corpses coming in, corpses that have been blown to pieces. And all you can think about when those corpses are lying there is, hey, I can use this to take a shot as people who have concerns about vaccination. So I'm right on that in my Arne Duncan way.
Back in my college days, all million of them, I thought to myself sometimes, I just don't want to go to class today. But never did I think that once I got into my class and I sat there for 5 minutes, that the professor would be like, I'm out, I'm done, I'm resigning, peace, and this leaves. Never did I think that would actually happen. I don't know if you're ever planning to do that.
Now, if your professor was 88 years old and came back from retirement to fill a shortage, you'd be more likely to think it was going to happen with him than anybody else, I would imagine.
Actually, I would think something else may happen. But anyway, let's give you the details here. We are going to start with the fact that, yes, as you said, the professor in question who just left mid-class is 88 years old. It's the University of Georgia, teaching psychology. Erwin Bernstein gave an immediate re-retire because he had actually already retired back in 2011 and he had come back part-time to teach since then, I guess for the past decade. There was just a few minutes after the class started and a female student had her mask down, a mask that a friend had given her, or a classmate, I guess, had given her, but she refused to put that mask back over her nose. And it's important to note at the university, they do not require students, faculty, staff, anyone to actually wear a face mask while inside of a building.
Paul Harvey, and now you know the rest of the story. Yet, none of these masks were required on campus. Under no circumstances did anybody at the University of Georgia have to wear a mask. So Irwin is throwing a little pissy fit. And not only did this young girl cover her mouth, which is more than she had to do, she just didn't cover the nose. So when I say that my Paul Harvey, now you know the rest of the story, when you read the media accounts on this, they try to blame it on the girl. They try to blame it on the student. She's insensitive, she's young and she's trying to kill people. This poor professor. No, there was no mask requirement. She put one on, granted, halfway, but she still went halfway. The professor isn't willing to go halfway. And let me finish by saying, he's 88 years old. If you don't want to risk it, don't risk it. Isn't it brilliant and wonderful that in America you can walk out like that simply because you want them to wear something that nobody mandates? You want them to wear it. And you have the freedom as an 88-year-old man not to risk it. Good. She went more than halfway. You didn't, and you both win. Quit blaming the kid for this. Quit pretending that you have the moral high ground. What you've seen here, both on the action of the professor and the action of the child, the student, is freedom, sweet, sweet freedom.
We actually don't have the entire story yet, so we don't have the rest of the story, but we will get there.
There's more of the story.
That you left out. Yes, correct. I'm going to give the details about this.
I'm Paul Harvey. Good day.
Okay. So Irwin said basically the mask was put on, but then she said she couldn't breathe and that she was having a really hard time breathing. And then Irwin said he informed the student that he could die from COVID-19 due to his underlying health conditions, including diabetes, high blood pressure, and age-related problems. And then, since that couldn't be resolved, that's when Bernstein then wrote on the board, no mask, no class, and then he left. Which, good way to walk out. I mean,
it's a good way to walk out, but it was, who's the little petty tyrant here? If you're 88 years old and you know you have diabetes and you know have underlying conditions, why go back? Is he not smart enough to realize that most authorities agree that the masks don't really help you and not really saving you from anything?
Well, as he told the student newspaper, at that point, I said that whereas I had risked my life to defend my country while in the Air Force, I was not willing to risk my life to teach a class with an unmasked student during this pandemic. Resignation was an all or none decision. I felt some relief as I had been getting more concerned as the COVID-19 pandemic unfolded in recent weeks. He said, I'm sorry that the pandemic has caused so much dissension. I personally do not agree that stimulating the economy is more important than people's lives, and am disappointed that some people feel that it is.
Then get mad at your university, twit, and yourself. Because A, your university doesn't have a mandate, which apparently you wish it did. And B, knowing your university didn't have a mandate, you went back and you still tried to force the kids to read. So in other words, what I'm seeing here is, now that you've told us the rest of the story, I'm going to go amend my comment. It's not two people experiencing freedom. Yes, she had the right, the student, to wear no mask. She bent over backwards and put a mask on. Didn't wear it completely correctly, but she tried. He, on the other hand, is a spoiled, typical professor who doesn't get his way, and so uses his freedom to walk away while condemning everybody else for not forcing things to make him more comfortable. And, excuse me, Professor, your comparison between your days in the Air Force when Nazis were shooting at you in planes, evidently, and the COVID virus, that's like Arne Duncan's comparison of the corpses of those blown up Marines to unmasked people. So here we have it again, a second story for the day where liberals just can't get their they can't stop mixing their metaphors. Welcome to Instant Classics for yet another week. This is a a moment for us to step back from all the politics and stupidity and just think about what we could all be doing with our lives and all of our students would be learning if politics forever took a vacation. The beautiful art, the history, the literature, the precision of science, the beauty of math. Think about the things that we could focus on if we weren't so every single day caught up in the battle to preserve real education. Well, Instant Classic is real education. And this week we're doing, I'm very proud to announce, the Raphael week on Instant Classic. This is Raphael the Great. Raphael is one of the three great acknowledged masters of the Renaissance. The ones that you think of first: Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael. Some people add Titian as the fourth. Others would add Donatello or somebody. But the bottom line is that Raphael belongs in the company clearly and definitively of Leonardo and Michelangelo. And like them, he has the one name, right? Just Raffaello, because his real name is Raffaello Sanzio de Urbino, born in Urbino, and Raphael Sanzio would be his name. But he's so his work is so sublime. In fact, that's what he was referred to oftentimes as the sublime angel in the way that he painted. He was a different kind of painter to both Da Vinci and Michelangelo. And once you understand his work or look at his paintings, you will never forget them. Take a look at our image for today. There he is. It's a self-portrait of him when he was perhaps 23, 24 years old. And he had, as you can imagine from this picture, he had an absolute reputation as being a ladies' man. Look at those little expressive eyes. This is when you think about Michelangelo, when you think about Leonardo, this guy has a complete playboy reputation. And he's almost got the same disarming smile of the half smile of the Mona Lisa here. And as you look at this picture and you look at the composition, the beautiful, the umbers in the background and what sets, and the black shirt and the black cap, his flowing black locks, all of that sets out the sort of cream white of his complexion. It really makes the face pop, and the earnestness of the image and the face of the artist here. And just some facts, as we're going to spend all week on his work. Again, he's not just a painter, he's an Italian painter and an architect of the High Renaissance. His work is admired for its clarity, ease of composition, and the visual achievement of the Neoplatonic ideal of human grandeur. Together with Michelangelo and Leonardo, he forms the traditional trinity of great masters of the period. Raphael was enormously productive during his life, running an unusually large workshop, and despite the fact that he only lived to be 37 years old. 37. He's the Keats, the John Keats of Renaissance painters. Imagine what would have happened if he had the lifespan of a Michelangelo, for instance. Somebody who lived 3 times as long as that almost. 37, that's 37 years for him. And we're going to starting tomorrow, really considering some of his greatest paintings. So enjoy, everybody. It's going to be Raphael week here on the Dr. Duke Show.
Oh, sorry. I was just
You were
enjoying
tumbling.
my sweet tumbler here with George Washington that you can also get yourself.
Doesn't that blue go very nice against her pink frock?
Okay, those are the stories for today. If you have a question for us, please feel free to drop it into the mailbag by emailing askduke@fpeusa.org. And if you enjoy our content, or even if you don't, please do support our show by joining the Patriot Club. Your tax-deductible donation keeps us going and gets you a brand new American Patriot tumbler. Simply visit patriotclub.us to get signed up. That's patriotclub.us. And again, it's a little special thank you from us to you. We will give you the brand new American Patriot tumbler, or two if you want to give us a little bit more. That's nice too.
That wraps up this show. For Freedom Project, I'm Dr. Duke. She's Katie. Until next time, stay educated, my friends.